from this morning, from last week, global mission, any questions at all. I'll do my best to answer them. Yes, ma'am.
Journey through Bethlehem, Vacation Bible School, do they have their own budget or is that part of global mission?
Okay, those are budgeted line items. So they have their own funds. Service. When we're doing Vacation Bible School, that's a mission right here. But we budget it for right here. Okay? But on after the I want to say Jamaican, I know that ain't right. Puerto Rico, VBS with a Spanish-speaking church in this. With them, share some of our workers and try and help them have a VBS. We did. But another step. So to be more in the community. When we talk about ministry versus mission, how many of you have read the book Purpose Driven Life? All right, who wrote it? Rick Warren. He is the pastor of, I think he still is. Not anymore. He's retired or quit. Okay. Of Saddleback Church, a huge church. He has probably the best discipleship process I've ever seen. Between ministry, there are two cogs in a motor or not either or. Not either or. Because ministry occurs in a far off land and it occurs here. Mission occurs in a far off land and it occurs here. They help each other. When they go on a mission trip, they learn things about ministry. Sitting with a gentleman this week, he said, until I went on a mission trip, I really didn't know what ministry was about. I came back to Red Bank and realized what I could do in ministry. So tonight we're looking at a disciple-making church's mission is serving God and sharing the gospel. Can you serve God on the foreign mission field? Can you serve God in North American missions? Can you serve God at Red Bank Baptist Church? Can you share Christ's message from Red Bank Baptist Church? Can you share Christ's message in the North American Mission Board? Can you share Christ's message on an international platform? So they work together. They're not separate. We view them as two different things, but they're not. Here, I want our church to be a disciple-making church. Our mission then is serving and sharing. The key question that I want to try and answer tonight, is mission different from ministry of the church? I'm just going to ask you, you tell me what you think. Is ministry different from mission? Okay. All right. Okay. All right. She said you think of mission as being away and ministry being at home. All right. How else are they different? That's exactly equips discipleship, the pastor. And hopefully we'll be and meet this man. Set to meet about 15 pastors all the time. It's not an appointment. At least wherever you're at. And in a field, the first question they ask me. It's like you could see have I cussed while he. You could see have I cussed. And I spent my best to share the gospel with them. I want to meet people. Half-hour ride over to, and went over to DeBert. And we met in a trapper's cabin. And we find 10 men in your, write their name. Sean's oil truck. Now, when you drive an oil truck, how in the world am I? I said, Sean, I tell you to do 10 in hopes that the men, we want you to speak at the tournament, men, and we've engaged these men to come back. Build me 2 custom. Get there, and I'm thinking, 12 guys, 50 men. Those guys left and came back in September. Ladies, y'all gonna go, got a block of butter like this, and you just got a block of butter like this, and you just roll, but it's really good. And they just roll, but it's really good. And they just, because when we go to Puerto Rico, we won't get a tie. But we need to reach into, it's thought through. Part of winning the world. Started. I'm going to tell you something. A truck stop right at Love's gas station. And we've for the purpose of connecting them to Christ. That I knew very well being in a deputy's patrol car. Being in a deputy's patrol car. I knew him very well. To go with our group, well, I went over to his house one afternoon, not in the deputy outfit. I understand you a preacher. I said, why is that? He said, you hadn't asked me to go to church. I said, I don't want you to go to church. I want you to have a relationship with Jesus Christ. Amen. I said, you going with me fishing in a couple of weeks? I made a connection to him through something he likes to be able to create a friendship with him instead of walking up to him and see it in me. Let him hear it. You know, every time that I arrested that guy, he never fought me. If I got out of the car, he'd go, oh. Not because I showed him that I cared about him. Folks, here's the problem with Christians today. We want to where they are like Jesus did. If you want the picture of it, remember Jesus? Woman caught in adultery, laying in the middle of says this woman needs to be stoned to death. And Jesus knelt down and started doodling friends. That's what I think. But I wish I knew what he wrote. And then he said, those of you that have not committed this sin. The Greek says this sin, not just more and more about it. See new touch, life. I've got try and get this together, get that together. Yeah, carried by willing servants that are willing to for that water. Springs from you now in church. How am I able? That's why we've got to equip. We want to connect for them to be able to grow in his character. What is he like? We want you to share. Share his God with all our heart, soul, mind. We've got to be a humble servant of David. You ever get, am I the only? That means that every day you can have the joy of Christ. Christians singing, that's his name. Tell of his salvation. Lord, a new song. Just sheer his mark, the difference, and people respond. We wanted you to, and we go, They wanted him to willingly and joyfully serve God's choice out. The church has a choice. Or just as our Lord and down physically. Every listen for doing good. Never say Sunday it's going to be 18. For the good, doing, reaching, will, but in our hour we need. In this community, showing people love and shopping. And I can't promise you that. What I call it's going to get thicker. It means that you're going to create an inflated price. It's just the same board over that little screen that way. I got that. I will be honest. Nothing fantastic. I just want to sit down on the couch. A red line, and it went. Folks, ordinary power. We just need to focus. Let God's people deal with it. Thank you for our time together. For you.